This is Newsmaker from the Department of News and Current Affairs, and I must tell you that this is a platform where you can have the scoop in terms of what salient and very, very important information. And we are going to have another resource person who is going to be from whom we are going to be getting news. Then what is trending now is for Ramadan festival, particularly the last 10 days of Ramadan. I want to exploit that one. I want to look at it from the Islamic perspective and what happens during that very last day, particularly when it comes to the last 3 days. What are the events that is global? Then how do people celebrate, and what is the ideal way to celebrate the Laylatul Qadr, as well as Itikaf, and the last one, that is Zakatul Fitri. You know, we have two zakat. We have a resourceful person, Dr. Abdul Hamid Abdulwasi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
You're welcome. Happy Ramadan.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Ramadan is winding up bit by bit, and the speculation which cannot be authenticated is that we are likely to have the celebration either on Friday or Saturday. Only, that is, we say Allah Alam, only Allah is the only one that knows, because the religion is not a religion that you can just say, but what God gives. But how do people, you have traveled abroad and you are back to Nigeria, how do people study the month, that is when it is ending, when you compare it to how we have it in Nigeria, where we expect our imams to tell us when to break the fast?
Thank you so much for bringing me to the program. And actually, Islam, as you mentioned, Islam is governed by law, that is rule of law. It is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran and what the Prophet sanctions. That is what we adopt in Islam. It is not a religion of just think of it and then do it the way you want. So it's a rule of law. So, and that rule of law, it's applicable to fasting in the month of Ramadan, as you just mentioned now. And of course, Muslim, we follow Islamic calendar, which is 12 months, just like Gregorian calendar, but we use moon to calculate the days, or to measure or to determine the date in Islamic calendar. So it means we cannot just say, although it can be calculated as well, it is calculated, the calendar is calculated, but when it comes to the matter of deen, that is matter of religion, we normally use sighting, the actual sighting, physical sighting of the moon. Sometimes it is aided by technology, sometimes it is not aided by technology, but we use that to mark the beginning of any of the month, Islamic month, and also
each month of the 12
each month of the 12 months. So, and it is brought to the public majorly because of everybody participate in the month of Ramadan. That is when we normally say that people come out to look for moon, for the new moon, and also they go out to look for the new moon when it is Ramadan is ending.
Okay, for the last 10 days that we are still in now, some people have gathered, that is a circulation in the mosque, looking for itikaf. Then at the same time, we that is itikaf, and then they are looking for the Laylatul Qadr, that is the day, the day. But now we are coming to the end. Can we say that Laylatul Qadr has passed, or we still have more chances?
Okay, thank you so much. Laylatul Qadr, it is just one of the nights of the last 10 days of Ramadan, as you just mentioned, and it is one of those things that give this month of Ramadan the benefit, or the I will call it, or will make it to be more important than other months of Islam. So Laylatul Qadr, as I mentioned, is just one of those nights, and as Allah said, it is night of power.
Has it gone, or we still have?
So this night is not gone yet, because it is Professor did not tell us the exact night. So he just said look for the Lailatul Qadr among the nights, the last 10 nights.
Especially the odd days.
Particularly the odd days. And today, the night that precedes today is 27th night, which is one of the odd days. Okay. And we still have one more odd day left, particularly, which is 29th. So the Lailatul Qadr is not gone yet.
But what is certain is that Zakat al-Fitr is ripe now. How do we do it?
Yeah, thank you so much. Of course, it is ripe. It is ripe few days to the day of Eid. So it is ripe. We can do it 3 days before, 8 days before, 2 days before, and we can also do it before we go to that is the end point of that.
I want you to tell us what is that Zakat al-Fitr?
Zakat al-Fitr is sadaqah, or the alms given by Muslim to the poor. We can say given to the poor, or and also needy, and also to purify the shortcomings, some of the bad words that we say during Ramadan, to just make them normal. So that is the function of Zakat al-Fitr. And talking about what we give, or who do we give, so it is obligatory. I would say obligatory for purposes for all Muslims, whether male or female, whether old or young, or call it slave or free person. So it is compulsory for all of us to do, and that is number one. And also, to whom are we giving it to? As we said, we give it to the poor people that they don't have means to celebrate something to celebrate the Eid al-Fitr. So we give it to those people. Old, young, male, female. It means it's going to be provided by the head of the family. So on behalf of the children, all the family members. If they're a family of 4, so it means it's going to be 4 times. And given out to people. So what do we give actually? And as you said, we have the time is still on for it. So what are the type of food that we can give as Zakat al-Fitr? During time of prophets, prophets normally give the food that is common, the staple food that is common in in their own community. So it means, and then those food that are common there, like dates and also barley and wheat, they are common during the time of the prophet. But staple food that are common during that time. In our own time, the staple or stable food that is common during our own time is like beans, gari. We can give gari. We can also give rice. Those food that when you give it to people, they can just it needs a little set of processing before.
What about maize? What about maize?
Maize
on the D-Day.
It's not supposed to be given. Meals, or you say
maize.
Maize, it's not supposed to be given, because I think it's going to be very difficult. How are you going to process this easily and eat it before you go for Eid or after the Eid? We cannot use. We don't use maize.
Okay, when you want to go internationally, you have been to several countries. How do you do them?
Okay, yeah, Islam is universal, so it is actually similar. But in Malaysia, for example, they use money. Yes, they use money. Although it is preferred to use staple food, like we said. But they reach out. There's a committee that collect this. So when you give food to them, it may be cumbersome before they can distribute to people that are needed. So they collect money from people. They prefer to collect money from people, and then they use the money to buy all the staple food and distribute it to the needy. So that's the method they use in Malaysia, and it is also calculated. So they tell you that this is the zakat, this is the amount they are supposed to be paid this year, which may be different for the amount that is supposed to be paid next year or last year. So, and it's a fixed amount. So if it's, for example, like 40 ringgit, which is Malaysia currency, so it means that is what one person will pay, whether it is old, the person is old or young, that's the amount. So if there's 4 members, so you're going to pay 40 times 4. And so it is also similar in Oman, it is similar, even in UAE it's also similar. In UAE, they have committee. The only thing that makes different in UAE, they have committee, that's number one, that collects, or they cannot just give it to anybody. In Malaysia, people stay in front of the mosque and then you go, it's the form of register, you pay, they give you something like tickets, so that shows that you paid, like a receipt that shows that you paid. So in UAE, that is in Dubai, that's what people call it, there you don't pay physically because they computerize everything in that country. Most of the processes that we go through in our daily life is being computerized in UAE. So there's app, you download the app on your phone, or you can use the web app at the same time too. So that is where you enter the amount of money you want to pay, and then you make transfer using your account number or using your bank account or any other means to make the transaction. So that is how they collect. So as I mentioned, they collect money in most of those countries because there are committees that will buy this. They are the ones that know those people that are in need majorly, because it's a rich country. So they have to. It is very difficult for you to just meet somebody on the road and give something to the person. So that's why they use. I think that's the reason why they have committee to do that. They know those people that are in need. I think they even give it to people outside of the country as well. So where people really need more than in their own society.
So look at this. Which one is more synthetic between what we do in Nigeria here? We give it personal, person to person.
Okay, yeah.
In that place.
Yeah, when we say sunnah, the sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu is that we give physical food. I would call it staple food or stable food that are common in this. They give food, not money, because there is money during the time of the Prophet as well. They have money during that time too. Why are they not using money in that? During their own time, instead of they're using food. Understand? So if you want to say the one that is most sunnatic, according to the sunnah of the Prophet, it is using food as a staple food, give it to people that needs. But as I mentioned, we will not say what they are doing is also not good, because there is this reason for doing that. As I mentioned now, it is difficult to find people that needs in those societies. So there are committees that collect, and when they collect the money, as I mentioned, they buy food. Not that they handle money to people. They buy food and then give food to those people. But we want to, as you mentioned, we want to say what is more in the line of Sunnah of the Prophet is to use food.
Okay, that means that in some other countries, except Nigeria and some other African countries, government is overseeing it.
Yes, government oversees so many things in this country. Things about religion, major, everything, including religion. So government oversees most of those things. For example, if they want to give khutbah in UAE, even in Malaysia, number one, they will give one type of khutbah in all their mosques, all their public mosques. I'm not talking about private mosques. So those, even in private mosques too, that is mosques that are not owned by the government or by the states, those are the private mosques. So even in those mosques too, the khutbah is being monitored as well. So you don't go beyond. It's like those things, they are censored one way or the other. Okay. So you don't go beyond what you don't say what you are not supposed to say on the member. Although it has, I would say, it has good outcome, as in good reason for doing that. You can also have some other type of reason at the same time too. So that's including zakat al-fitr and all that. For example, Hajj in Malaysia, there is a kind of I would call it savings for that. Right, start from the first day when the child is being born. So they start saving for that child to go for Hajj. Start to save for this child, maybe monthly or weekly or daily, and you have to do it because it is governed by the government. So you have to be saving any amount. So if the amount is enough, maybe when the child is like 10 years old, it means when the child is ripe, it's ripe enough or matured enough to go on Hajj. So it means that they can use the money. If the money is ready and the child is not matured enough, they just keep the money until the child is mature, and then you'll go for Hajj. So they don't have any problem in going for Hajj in that country. So because it is being monitored and governed by the government. So also that is how zakat and all the aspects of their life is being monitored by the government. I would not say monitored only. I would say governed and controlled by the government. So
okay, that means you can say that there is no usurpation or embezzlement of public funding, because when you look at the cooperative people are doing in many states in Nigeria, some government dip their hand in those ones that belong to individual worker, and thereby let alone religion. But that of religion, governments don't seem as if it is paramount. I want to advise the governments that usually dip their hand in cooperative and some other treasury of the public.
Yeah, it is. There is corruption everywhere, actually, virtually everywhere,
including UAE.
Yes, there is corruption, but what happened is that it is not traceable, like not visible, like we have it in this country. It is like part of our lives, our full life in this country. So, but there, when we say corruption, it is like they give what masses, the government, they give what masses what they need, they give it to them, and the rest they share it within themselves. When you give people what they need, they don't even care about what you do about the rest. So it is between you and your creator. So when I say there is corruption, it may be the kind of corruption that they have in that country, because the road is very good. That is one of those things that people need, what masses need. There is constant electricity, there is security. You can walk 1 o'clock in the middle of the night without any problem. Apart from that, you can leave your phone, as in the mall. You can leave it maybe in front of you like this, and then you go somewhere else. You come back, you meet the phone over there. So the government, they've done enough to prevent all those things, to make the society clean enough for people to live. If they corrupt, it is between them, and then if they are embezzled or doing whatever, it is between them and their creator. So as I mentioned, so one of the things that masses need that they don't just dig their hand into in those countries is like what you just mentioned, the treasury, what belongs to masses, the money they are saving maybe for cooperative, any other ways. They don't deal with that. And if you are caught as in taking something from it, you will find yourself in trouble. So corruption is not
okay. Coming back home, that is in Nigeria. You have been in Nigeria for some months now. Thank God for your life. Then when you look at what we usually do here, traditional is that we use the two hand palm like this. You join them together like this to measure either rice or whatever, because you have systematically condemned maize during the day of but rice and beans and some other things like that. We use our hands. But when you look at my hand and your hands, they are not equal. Yeah. Then how do we do that?
Yeah, you're right. What prophets use during this time is, they call it sa'a. That's what they call it. It's just a kind of a measuring.
Like mudu.
Yeah. Mudu is a form. It is an adaptation of sa'a. It is not sa'a itself, because one sa'a is for one person.
Okay.
But mudu, we use 2 mudu. So it means 2 mudu equals 1 sa'a. Understand me? So what we know in our community is mudu. But if you don't have mudu, then that is when it comes to cupping your hand like this. And not just anybody. They said hand of a moderately I will not say matured, is a moderate man. Understand me? It's not too big, the hand is not too big, the hand is not too small as well. But that is very difficult to measure, of course. And that is why people did some ijtihad. What they did is that they looked for some measure, some tin. They use, particularly they use milk, this evaporated milk, that small one. So they're trying to look to measure how many of that split milk can we find in the sa'a, or can we find in 2 mudu. So they came out and they found out that there is 8.5 of the tin inside a sa'a. Understand? So, and then they don't measure it the way we measure food item. That is, you measure it and then measure it on top. So just level it, and then 8 of that and half is for one person, which is that is it equals to 1 saw of the prophet. So with that, I think that is better instead of using hand, because when you get to using hand, just keep cooking. You see that this is too much. Understand me? Or if your hand is too small, it's going to be too small. If your hand is too big, it's going to be too big. So to make it near accurate, I think it's better to use that tin if module or saw is not available.
And at the same time, I want to look at the issue of converting it to money, because we know the 8.5 as a price. Yes, it's as a price. Or when you have it for 3 persons, you can see that it will be going to about 2 Congos. Then, and the 2 Congos as a price, that is when you, in terms of mail. If I want convert it into money, I hope is it not too far?
Yes, it is too far. If you, for example, we have beans, we have rice, we have dairy. So if you choose, I believe they will choose the average of the 3 in those countries where they use money. Understand, right? So, for example, if we want to convert it based on the price of rice, that would be too much. As in, it may not be affordable to many people. Understand me? Or if we convert it based on the price of beans, it may also not be available and as in affordable for many people. So, and you know,
that of the gari
is in between all of that. So,
but is it good to be soaking gari on the day?
That's the problem. But it is not about. Okay, I will add something as well. You can give gari as zakat al-fitr, and you can add other things to it. But that is not zakat al-fitr. Other thing that you add, you don't have reward for zakat al-fitr for that, but you have reward that you give sadaqah in order to aid them, as in to help them prepare the food that they need from gari, or pepper, all those ingredients to make soup. You can buy it and then add fish to it. So it means with that gari, they are not going to drink the gari. They will make eba from that gari and then they eat it, a complete meal. So, of course, it's not gari. We cannot compare it to rice. And even if you give them rice at the same time too, when they cook rice, they are not going to eat white rice only.
Okay. For the last minute that we have, I want you to talk about how should a Muslim comport themselves during the day of Eid.
Thank you so much. Of course, there is a rule that the Prophet set on the day of Eid in the morning for Eid al-Fitr. This is a little bit different from that of the Eid al-Adha. Eid al-Fitr, we have to eat something in the morning because we have been fasting for other days. So we must. It is encouraged. I would not say must. It is encouraged that we eat something before we go for Eid. And then when we go for Eid, we will do Talbiyah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha. We have to do it. And then we go another sunnah of the Prophet. Going for it. When Prophet go to it, following path A, he will follow another path when he's coming back. And then the mother also encouraged to walk to the Eid. But you know, Eid may be far in our area, so there's no problem in driving to Eid as well. And then we celebrate it in halal way. Not that
I want to talk about the new clothes. People are taking the transition as a necessity. New clothes for the family. It's in necessity.
I don't understand what you mean.
New clothes for the family. That's the children need.
Oh, okay. Yeah, buying new attires for families, new clothes. Yeah, it is.
What the family that cannot afford?
If they can, it is not compulsory. That's number one. So if the family cannot afford it, it's not a problem for them to use it. Actually, but just to make Eid is to make people happy. Understand me? So part of making children happy or making family members happy is to give them new clothes, new things, whatever. Understand me? So it is they are not going overboard by doing that. People that can afford it. Understand me? Only that when you wear new clothes and that you are not playing down upon those people that don't wear new clothes, that is where the problem might be.
Yes, that is Dr. Abdul Hamid Abdulwasi. You have taken us to different countries that are Muslims. Then you talk as a Nigerian back home. Thank you very much. This is the convenient point to suspend it. We want to appreciate the producer of the program, Oluwatoyin Yusuf, the advisor, that is the editorial advisor, is Akola Wolabi. I'm Adebisi Abdijeli. Till next week, I say bye for now.